There's an interesting story there I see in the Irish Times during the week as well, and it's to do with a solicitor who has been or was ordered by the district court judge, Mr. Justice David Kennedy, I think I'll check that now, who was ordered to pay 400 or 500 euros rather to the court poor box for not attending a hearing. But the solicitor is not happy with that decision, and I don't blame him, quite frankly. I don't think the judge was correct in doing what he did, and the solicitor now has brought a judicial review to challenge the authority of the judge. The background to the case: Edward Bradbury is the solicitor. He claims that he was unable to make the hearing as he is required to attend another court on the same day for a separate client. So the solicitor, he was ordered to pay 500 euros to the district court poor box when he was unable to attend the hearing. He has been granted permission to challenge the fine, arguing the judge did not have jurisdiction to impose such a penalty. I think he's right. However, the High Court will decide. Edward Bradbury of Edward or Bradbury Ellis Key Dublin 7 says in his affidavit to the High Court that he was acting for a bail defendant in a criminal case listed for hearing before Judge David Kennedy at Arklow District Court in June of this year. Mr. Bradbury submits, however, he could not make it to the hearing as he was required to attend Dunleary District Court on the same day to represent a different client who was remanded in custody. He said he could not procure counsel to attend the case that morning, and he asked a solicitor colleague to deal with it on his behalf, and that would be common enough. This report, by the way, is from Paul Nealon in the Irish Times. Despite the requested solicitor Pádraig Hyland, principal at Pádraig J. Hyland and Company, Arklow, attending and being willing to conclude the summary matter, it was adjourned to September because the defendant wished to have Mr. Bradbury's office present. Mr. Bradbury submits that later in the day he received an email from Mr. Hyland's office outlining that the district judge had, quote, purported to fine me, Mr. Bradbury, personally in the sum of 500 euros. The judge had expressed his dissatisfaction and noted that the case was specially fixed for hearing at the request of the defence and the prosecution was ready to go, the email said. 2 days later then, on June the 13th, Mr. Bradbury says he received an email from the court that read, quote, the judge has ordered that Edward Bradbury be fined 500 euros with 1 month to pay 500 euros to be paid to the court poor box. Mr. Bradbury's solicitors wrote to the district court office and indicated that the district judge did not have the jurisdiction to make such an order and that it was made without formal notification for him to engage representation in the interests of natural justice and fair procedures. Mr. Bradbury submits his solicitor told the district court that in the absence of a formal court order he would not be paying the fine and he would take no further action should the matter rest there. He said he told the district court that if an order was issued for the 500 euros, judicial review proceedings would be commenced from the date of issue. On August the 13th then, Mr. Bradbury's solicitor received the order compelling him to pay. Mr. Bradbury submits the court poor box is a common law creation which allows those seeking to avoid conviction offer a contribution to a charitable cause. Its existence is predicated on the remorse of the party making the contribution. He further claims the poor box has no place in the supervision of a member of a regulated profession for matters which arise in the course of his profession. At the High Court then on Monday, senior counsel for Mr. Bradbury successfully applied to Miss Justice Mary Rose Gearty for leave to pursue the challenge to the fine, and the matter was adjourned to the new year. I think Mr. Bradbury, the solicitor, will succeed with this judicial review because I don't think the district court judge has the jurisdiction to impose a court fine on a solicitor for not showing up or not attending. I recognise the common law court poor box system is in place for people who are facing criminal charges and against whom the facts have been found, but the judge might, rather than record a conviction against them, give them the opportunity to make a contribution to the court poor box, and they get the benefit of the Probation Act, and therefore they avoid a conviction, a criminal conviction, which can have very, very serious consequences. That is the general use of the court poor box. It is generally used where people might be, guilty of minor trivial offences, minor offences, or perhaps first-time offenders or whatever. And the judge will exercise discretion, and rather than mark a conviction against perhaps a young man that was at, the electric picnic or whatever and was done for smoking a joint or being in possession or whatever, a relatively minor offence, first time, etc., rather than marking a conviction against such a person, give the opportunity to him to make a contribution to the court poor box, and the money then would go to a local charity or sporting organisation, or some organisation that might be making voluntary contributions in the community or whatever. That's generally the situation with the court poor box. It is a common law construct. I don't think there's any particular statutory basis for it or whatever. It is a common law thing that has arisen, and there's always a little bit of controversy about it and about the discretion that judges are entitled or not to use in relation to the court poor box. This is the first time I've seen a solicitor or any professional being reprimanded, as it were, or being fined or purportedly fined and the court poor box is being used in that way, and I don't think that is going to stand up at the High Court when it is judicially reviewed in the new year. That remains to be seen. Let's have a look and see in due course. I'll report on it if the decision is published. This report, as I say, Paul Neal in Irish Times, interesting case. The solicitor is Edward Bradbury, and he's bringing a judicial review over the order by the district court judge, that he pay €500 to the court poor box for not attending a hearing.